Welcome to Around the World in 80 Bottles. Today we'll be starting a trip in Australia via your kitchen at home. One of my favorite things I had in Australia when I was in McLaren Vale were some stuffed fried olives. And we had them with a sparkling red, and the sparkling red on its own was a little fruity, but when you put it with all that earthiness in the olive, all of the flavors really came out. So it wasn't just about the dish being wonderful. The pairing was so good that it really kind of drove home why we do this. So I'm going to share that recipe with you today, and we've made it even easier for you than what my original recipe is. And I do want to credit Derenberg Winery, because this was at their veranda restaurant where we had the olives. Now, you can stuff these at home, but our featured item of the week are these wonderful feta stuffed olives, and they're made by Davina in Greece. Now all we're going to do is dredge them lightly in flour. I barely coat them. Just shake off the excess, and that's going to keep your egg on. You're going to roll them in egg, and then we're going to put them in panko crumbs. Now I like panko crumbs much better than doing breadcrumbs because it's a lighter texture. It really gives it an extra something. So that's what our olive is going to look like once we get them done. And we're just going to do that over and over and over again. So this part of the process is slightly time consuming, but it's really not bad. You just have to do this a couple times. Now, you may think you're only going to have a couple per person, but I've found that when I do these at dinner parties or just any kind of, I've done these at catering events, and you always need more than you think because people go nuts over these. So once again, there's a little labor involved, but it's not super complicated. Basically have 4 ingredients. And then I've got some oil heating up right now, and you just want a saucepan with oil on medium-high. And these are going to be fried just long enough to get the panko crumbs brown. So I literally fry these for about 20 seconds. So they're healthier than they look because there's not a long time in the fryer. And I'm using good quality Greek olive oil, but if I'm doing a lot of these, I will use canola oil because it's a lot less expensive. If you start to fry these and they're getting a little too brown, just back your temperature down to about medium, because once it gets good and hot, you can lower it a little bit. So now I'm going to fry these up. I use a slotted spoon to remove my olives from the oil, and when you start off, these took me about 30 seconds, and as that oil stays hot, you'll see that your time will shorten to about 20. Like I said, if it gets a little hot, just turn it down a bit, and that'll keep the temperature where it needs to be. So we're going to put this with a fresh lemon aioli. You can do this with lemon or lime. And normally, you want to do an aioli, you can use mayonnaise that you buy at the store or make your own, and you add a little extra lemon and some garlic and some pepper. Today I've used Lola's Yummy Feta dressing because it has mayonnaise, lemon, pepper, and garlic, and then it has the addition of some feta dressing, which really gives it a good punch of flavor. Because I'm using this instead of making the aioli, all I have to do is add my fresh grated lemon zest. So it's as easy as mixing these 2 ingredients together. That's so beautiful, and you can even tell it when the color will change. And if you don't have enough, just put a little extra lemon. And when you're zesting your lemon, make sure that you only get the peel. You don't want any of this pith around it. So just add that in, give it a nice stir, and then we're going to serve that on the side with our olives. It's beautiful, it's easy, and people love this. Now I'm serving this with sparkling red, When we were at Derenburg, they gave us their sparkling red, which is a Chamberson. And today, I'm going to do it with a sparkling Shiraz, and this is from Engine Room. And this is also in McLaren Vale, which is where we had the Derenburg fried stuffed olives. So, of course, cheers to you, Derenburg. Thank you for giving me one of my all-time biggest hits at parties. And as I mentioned before, this has a lot of good fruit, but when you put it with the olives and then the sauce on the side, it literally explodes with all the different rich, ripe flavors in it. And the sparkle adds a nice something because it's chilled and then you have the hot olives. So it's a really nice contrast. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy the olives, and please join us next week on Around the World in 80 Bottles. Cheers!